So the biggest takeaway for myself, it's that it's not about all or nothing. It's about that we can use aspects from bodybuilding in terms of isolation exercise for specific muscles, and we can incorporate those to make our compound lifts better in terms of being healthy and being able to adapt. I want to apply this information in regards to being able to modulate how much volume I do and how to keep myself healthy, and therefore keep improving. Even though I'm getting older in age, I want to still be able to improve on my athletic performance. I want to be able the reason why I'm here is I want to learn because I want to be able to apply this towards future career goals. And I think this is something that's going to be very valuable going into the future.
What do you say is like one thing that you could take away and maybe use, even as early as next week? What's like one thing you could?
Techniques, specific techniques on certain muscles, motion, adapting to the gym environment as far as not having certain equipment and being able to modify things to suit yourself. So there's a couple of things on the shopping cart that I got to put in to make, so we can adapt,
Coming here just really reaffirmed that, Doug Brignole and Smart Training 365 isn't trying to reinvent anything. They're just trying to, make everybody a little bit more knowledgeable. And if we can gain knowledge, the biomechanics of muscle, then, we can only get better. So, I think that's why a lot of people do miss out on stuff like this, because, they look at it like, I'm not going to follow Doug Brignole's workout plan. I'm going to follow Stan Efferding or Mark Bell. Don't say do that. If we can bring it all together and just kind of incorporate, everybody's technique and their thoughts, and it'll be good for it'll make everybody a better person. So,
did this clear up the understanding of the person's goal? Like, if my goal is this, now I know better how to achieve that goal.
Right. I think that understanding the mechanics of muscle will give us. We all want to know why we're doing something. Why are we doing a sissy squat? Well, how is it going to improve? So just understanding the mechanics is going to give us the why. And once we know the why, we're more apt to use it day to day.
The biggest takeaway is seeing the individual exercises being performed by Doug, and also the different angles. Like if you don't have the specific machine, you can raise it and do it from this angle, because it really is the same angle, even though it looks different. So that made a lot more sense. And I like how they molded the whole bodybuilding and powerlifting. Like powerlifting is a sport, and you can become better at it by building the individual isolated muscles. And you can work together, and you can do those powerlifting moves better when you have the stronger individual muscles. So
Excellent.
Like that.
What's up? The biggest takeaway was having the 16 principles broken down and covered comprehensively in person, and seeing how Doug modeled it definitely increased my understanding of how to apply them within a proper context. Moving forward, I have a number of clients and trainees that I work with, people that do my programs. I've been incorporating the biomechanical model into all the programming using the Brick 20 exercises and their variants. So long term, I'm just more excited to see what the long term results are as people realize the efficiency of the programming in regards to hypertrophy, and then also how it can be used in sort of a hybrid model. If you are going to be a strength athlete and your goal is to maximize your force output with moving weight, that doesn't mean that your exercises only have to be oriented purely for maximal output. You can combine isolation and development of muscular tissue and then integrate that with your strength training, and they're very complementary to each other.
Was coming to the seminar, you learned more things as compared to what you saw on our YouTube channel?
Definitely. Well, this is the thing. I'm a personal trainer for 12 years. Having things taught to you in person by a qualified personal trainer, nothing replaces that one-on-one experience. You can watch videos, you can read instructionals, and you might get it, or you might not. Those subtle movement cues or those subtle modifications in technique, that can make a world of difference, especially for certain exercises that are maybe they're vague on the setup, or there's a lot of variability due to individual bodily proportions. Like, okay, what's the right way for a tall person, short person, long arms, short arms? What about the equipment? Like, how do you make the equipment work for the exercise? So those are the things where you can't really quantify the value, but qualitatively it's priceless.
All right. I think what I'm going to take away today is so often in the fitness industry, we get to talk about the biology and the chemistry of what's happening in our movements, but the physics is something that is really left out. And because it's just, as Doug was saying earlier, just taught to us, and we just take it as, you know, as what it is. So learning to break down these movements that we are traditionally accustomed to and really analyze if they are effective or not, using physics as our source of information is going to help. I think the thing I'm going to take away was, which really I think coincides with the idea of physics as being a really important aspect to this, is the internal and external cues that Doug talked about, and getting clients to start to interpret those. And what I mean by that, I think, is rather than saying what the arms and levers of our bodies are doing, it's the feelings inside and how it's actually, physiologically impacting our system. So that was something I'm really excited to start to delve into with my clients.
What is the one thing that you learned today that you didn't hear somewhere else?
Something I learned today I didn't hear somewhere else. Just for one example, was the lat exercise, I think, is what really stands out in my head. I think, it's something that was always, I think, just a traditional lat pull down, really taking that and breaking it down into different steps and feeling the mechanics, even just like the way Doug talked about, like just looking behind your arm and pulling that elbow in towards the spine and that slight arch. It just was like, it just clicked, and you can even feel it without any weight. You can just feel it with body weight doing that stuff. So I think it was really cool to get to see how even with body weight, the maximal output that our muscles are giving without adding anything else to it was something unique I haven't really seen before yet.
So first of all, I think I learned so many interesting techniques today, and these techniques will definitely help me in terms of my fitness longevity. I'm looking at this as a lifelong hobby. So if it's a lifelong hobby, then I will be a lifelong learner. So learning these techniques that's safe, effective, makes sense to me. If these were best exercises for different muscle groups, then I do need to practice and do them and perfect these first before moving on to more complex movements, building a good foundation. So I'm really glad to see these techniques in person and know the finer points to perform each of these well. I found dog and smart training through, I guess it was really a long search for something that I didn't see in the mainstream fitness industry. I injured myself. I injured my rotator cuff last year when I was doing a behind the neck press, which afterwards I realized didn't make sense at all, that movement. It felt very unnatural, but it was promoted by so many trainers. And that's when it hit me. It hit me that why wouldn't someone talk about it from a biomechanics standpoint? What makes sense to our structure, to our anatomy? If that's not the foundation to our movements, then what would it be? If it's our muscles, it has to do with our anatomy. So I'm really glad I found Doc, and I think his principles make sense to me. I'm a designer, so I'm very used to doing critiques. And this seminar, using a critique on different things, and seeing like a power lifter like John to integrate Break 20 into your routines is also inspiring to me. It gets me into thinking how I should apply these in my own training. and in climbing, in the different sports that I do. So yeah, thank you.
Perfect. And that's what I love about this seminar, to be honest, is because, having someone like John, using the Brick 20 exercises, when we usually, me and Doug, like having like videos on YouTube, and every time we talk something that doesn't, like, we don't agree about, like, let's say, powerlifting, because of other stuff, we get critique, and they say, oh no, but if you were a power lifter, we do this and we get pumped and we get big size. But then look at it, like someone who's been in the game for a long time, and he's open-minded and he knows that these exercises can't be overlooked and they have their place in this sport, in this discipline.
Right. There's no rivalry necessary.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We good?
Yeah, I think like again, like all this, like I'll just kind of finish off. It comes down to what is your goal, and then you need to be able to like look at all these exercises, all these programs just through like an unbiased, open-minded lens, and then you gotta like always ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? And then like a lot of these movements, it's like if there's like very minimal risk and like a big return, then why wouldn't you spend more time with those things? And then if there's still things that you enjoy, like people enjoy skydiving, people enjoy, like football and all these things, and those things can have some risk to it, but then, okay, like just do your best to minimize that risk so we can do it for a long time. Because ultimately that's my goal too. I get a thrill. I don't like skydive, I don't do other things, but I get a thrill getting under 800 pounds. That's kind of my, thing. And I want to do it in the best, safest way possible, be able to teach other people. So I really appreciate having Doug and Mo here. Let's give them a big hand. Really thank them for